What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Comically Boston. Today is episode 78, and today we're going to be talking about Secret Invasion, episode 3, Betrayed. Ooh, I wonder who gets betrayed in this episode. Who's the betrayer? Who's the betrayee? Wish I found out. So let's jump right into it. We're going to be breaking this bad boy down and talking about all the juicy details, and stick around to the end, because the end of this episode was a good one. But here's your warning, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Secret Invasion episode 3, Shoo, get out of here. Go watch the episode, come back later. But it starts with young Beto, the man that we have seen since, I believe, the first or second episode, where Amelia Clark brought him into the little compound. Beto and Pagan, Gravik's right-hand man, are heading into a risky mission. They are heading to disguise. They have one other man with them, an older man. They didn't say who he was, but they are disguised as three men that are infiltrating the Royal Navy, and they are trying to execute a strike on a key United Nations target. And then we cut to Gravik meets the Skrull Council in the lab, the same lab that we saw Gaia sneaking through last time around, and then we find out, more about Gravik's plot and what he's trying to do, and he does confirm, even saying the words himself, that he's trying to make Super Skrulls. So we're getting real interesting, folks. We're getting it's already episode 3, and we're already getting Super Skrull action. So this next episode is going to be hype. I'm telling you, this episode 4 is going to be real good. 5 is going to be real good, and I think the finale is going to stick the landing. To Gravik doing this thing in the lab, then we cut back to New York, 1998. Nick Fury walks into a bar. That de-aging face technology still looks great, and we see him actually meet the human version of Vara that we saw at the end of last episode. So we know that Nick Fury has not only been interested in Vara, he likes her new black face, and he has known that she's been in this form since 1998. So he does know that she's a Skrull, and he's well aware. And he was married to her for a long time, and then she was very upset when he disappeared, per se. When he got blipped, and she thought he very much so became a widow, and she was upset, and then he came back, and then he went to space, so then she really took that to heart, right? So she cried on his pillow, she said, for every night while he was dead during the blip, and then they brought him back, which was super unexpected as well. Most dead people stay dead, they don't just come back. And, Fury comes back and then goes up to space, which we don't really have a reason why he went up to space right after, but he is kind of tiptoeing around why he's been up there. So I think that's going to be a big reveal why he's actually was up in space. I even think maybe the Nick Fury that's been walking around this whole time is a Skrull. Who knows, The only way maybe Nick Fury could actually be safe is if he had somebody else betraying him. I don't know. What did the man think about when he first came back? He was probably all distraught and shit, but Vara, we see, hand over a letter to Nick Fury and says this should put Dreykov's men on his heels. Dreykov from Black Widow, the man that ran the Red Room and stuff like that. So a nice little nod, Easter egg, back to old and Marvel stuff. Then we cut back to Gravik. He's waking up Gaia. And, we had this little portion of the shot earlier in the trailers where it was like we saw the sunlight coming through this window and you saw Gravik's face. But now you see the whole shot. He's sitting in this chair and he's talking to Gaia over here on the right on the bed. And Gaia says to Gravik that she's a liar, and she's a good liar, and then lies to his face. So I was questioning, does he know that she's lying at this moment? And it's unclear, but it's still, I think he knows that she was lying, and he questions that Brogdon wouldn't have known where the safe house was. So somebody in the group that would have known would have been Beto, her, or Pagan. It wasn't Pagan, because that's Gravik's right-hand man, and he was infiltrating the building with Gravik, so it's not him. So he kind of knows that she called the police on the safe house, even though it didn't really end up mattering either way. So Gravik tells Gaia she's coming with him the next day, and then we cut to them getting off the plane the next day, and Gravik goes to Gaia, hey, Talos wants a parlay, and apparently it's about you. And then Gravik goes to meet Talos, and we get this great shot from the trailer where, all the different Gravik standing around, and Talos is like, oh fuck, right? And this all, I was curious what the conversation was happening that triggered this, and it was, of course, about Gaia. And I really like Ben Mendelsohn in this scene. He's just like, "You keep my daughter's name out your fucking mouth. Is that you got that?" You know, like, and Gravik didn't necessarily fight back when he was saying these things. Like, he didn't, like, you know, expect the knife and just, like, pull away. Like, he kind of just let it happen, and then, like, didn't go and immediately run after him and, like, fuck him up. Like, I think he's got a bigger play at hand, but I don't know. Talos was not having it. He was not having the bad mouth and Gaia straight to his face. So he puts a knife through his hand, and Gravik pulls the knife out, and then it, like, heals back, like extremis healing. So that's, you know, showing you that, what's his name, Gravik here, showing you that Gravik already has super soldier serum type of deal, super Skrull in him, you know, like, he's already been experimenting with extremis and probably the Groot and all the other DNA that we saw on that computer. So I'm curious to see what he'll be able to do. You know, we've only seen him really do the healing now in the Groot arm from the trailers, so, but hey, maybe some of the trailers were lying. I'll talk about that more at the end of this video. But so after Talos runs away from Gravik getting his hand stabbed, Gravik gets back in the car with Gaia, goes back where they went, and Talos goes to a bar, gets some breakfast, and he's hungry, and Fury walks into the bar to meet him. And Talos is very upset about what Fury said on the train in the previous episode, which was yesterday. So it's only been one day, episode to episode. And and Fury has to swallow a lot of pride. And he has to say that he is useless. "I'm sorry, Talos. I am useless." Or, will you help me, Talos? "I'm useless without you." And Talos then, good Talos, he saw the man that would never apologize to anybody, actually apologize to his friend for his help. Of course, you know, Nick Fury's not doing it for no reason. He needed his help, so he gets his help. And then they call Sonya about the British sub Neptune that is releasing a warhead and going to blow up a plane or something, and that's Gravik's main plan. And I love fucking Sonya Falls. Like, everything about her is awesome, right? Like, like, she's just great. She's every scene she's in, she's just awesome. She's in this red nice little dress, she's drinking wine, she's got the owl thing that Nick Fury bugged, and she's like, "You know, you have to apologize." He's like, "I just gave away my only apology I had, so what's up?" And she's like, "You put a rather nasty bug," that she probably couldn't get off the owl's eye, and so it was called Hoot. And he goes, "Tell me that's not the name of the owl." And she goes, "Nope, his name is Nick Fury." And she puts a little eye patch over the owl's, you know, eye that was recording her, which killed me. I was like, just a little detail. There's a little bit of humor in this show that we needed. You know, like, just a little bit of humor. Then we get this great conversation with Talos and Nick Fury going back and forth, and pretty much Talos being like, "Listen, when I met you, you were a piece of shit rank, you know, nobody in S.H.I.E.L.D. And then Nick Fury's like, "I was ascending the ranks." You weren't really ascending, you were just in the ranks. And then Talos and 19 of his Skrull buddies were giving him intel and doing all of the dirty work for Nick Fury, and that's how Nick Fury climbed the ranks. And Nick Fury's not really giving Talos his credit, and Talos is like, "Hey, you don't need to thank me, but don't try and alter history either. I was there. Like, I'm the one that built this shit with you, and you're not even associating me as your best friend." Like, clearly Talos is Nick Fury's best friend. Has to be. He's definitely his oldest friend. He's known him since '95. Like, come on. So then Talos they get to Bob's house, the guy that they have to infiltrate. He's a Skrull as well, which is interesting. There's his security team was Skrulls, and maybe his son's half Skrull, so like they're all in their human form to like hide it from the son and the wife type deal. But son's probably half Skrull. I wonder what half Skrull does to somebody. They can only like transform some parts of them. I don't know. The half Skrull maybe does nothing. I don't know. Maybe gives them some type of super strength, no transforming abilities. I don't know. I have a slight suspicion that Beto, young Beto there, might be Vara's and Nick Fury's half kid. That could be an idea. I really thought Gravik was his kid, but then they confirmed that last episode that Gravik's parents were killed on the war or whatever. You know. So Talos here tiptoes through the house, sees a kid, tiptoes past the kid, finds the Bob's house, you know, like finds his room. And then Bob mistakenly calls him Nick, and Nick Fury grabs the kid and comes in and goes, "Nobody calls me Nick, Bob," and so Nick Fury's not dull. He's still as sharp as he ever was, and he's definitely coming back into his own. And they end up having to kill Bob. Bob goes, "Maybe Guy is the one that's been the spy the whole time." So I think Talos knows that she's burnt. Talos just shoots him. Don't talk about Talos' daughter in front of Talos. Not a good idea. So Gaia then has to go and get the information from the guy's pod. So they took the guy's job, and put him into one of those pods. So she goes and checks the memories. The code word that only he knew was his son's name, Zachary. So then she definitely blows her cover going to get the information, and then she gets on a motorcycle and starts riding away, and then riding down this dark road, and then has headlights flashing her eyes. She spills the bike. Gravik gets out of the car, points a gun at her, and then shoots, fires, and we see her groan and die and turn back into a Skrull. What? Amelia Clark is dead and gone? I am not believing this. This is not true. I don't believe it for a second. It can't be true, because from the trailers we know that there's this. Well, they could have lied, but from the trailers we knew that Gaia walks into this room with the blue people, and all on those tables, and then she's also in this orb thing, which looks like maybe the center of that lab thing that we saw earlier, that Gravik was standing in front of. But I think Gaia maybe not dead. But why did she turn back into Skrull like she was dead? And then they follow the car away, and then that's the end of the episode, and you're like, what? What do you mean? There's no way she's dead. Unless they just threw stuff in the trailers to throw us off the scent, and they're gonna kill Maria Hill and Gaia like that. But why are you gonna bring Amelia Clark in just to do a couple episodes and kill her? There's no way. She's definitely gotta have a little taste of that extremis or something in her, and she's not gonna die, or something. I don't know. She can't be dead. She just from the stuff from the trailer. Why would they put that in the trailers? They're not Sony, they're not just false advertising like that. That's messed up. You can't do that. But I love the lines that Nick Fury had. He, after he goes, "Bob, this isn't a negotiation, Bob. Let Talos go," and he, and Talos is puts his head down, he was just saying that Nick Fury got everything because of Talos. Now Nick Fury's like, "Thanks for saving my life, Fury." "No problem, Talos. Anytime." Nick Fury still got that cocky Samuel Jackson. I love it. And then afterwards, they cleaning up the bodies, and he's like, "So tell me, what's the deal? Why are you doing all this?" And he's like, "I'm not with Gravik, because I'm with you." And I was like, oh, Talos really trusted him, really thinks he's got a true friend in Nick Fury. Oh man, you feel for him. But what really got me was at the end of this episode, Vara gets a text, and then she gets her keys, goes to a safety deposit box, gets to the safety deposit box, and finds an envelope, or under the envelope? No, I think it was in the envelope, and pulls it out, and it's just a gun in there, and then gets a call, and it's somebody that sounds like Rhodey on the phone. Now, earlier in this episode, when Nick Fury met Talos at the bar, he said, "I got a lead on a rebel Skrull that's high up in the U.S. government." High up meaning the president's gun? I don't know. Why was he talking to the president in the first episode if he's not high up in the rebel, a high up rebel Skrull? So Rhodey's a Skrull. I'm confirming it now. Rhodey's a Skrull. Why is he hiring Vara, knowing that she's with Fury? Maybe he doesn't know that, but I think he would know that, and he's trying to use that against Fury type of deal. But Vara also said it earlier in the episode that she was like, "After you went back up to space and left me again, I went back to the me that was before I met you." And she was it kind of had this ominous, mysterious tone to it. You're like, oh shit. So she's working for Rhodey, so now Vara's betrayed Fury. Fury betrayed Talos. They're kind of made up. But Gaia betrayed Gravik, paid the price. Just a lot of betrayal in this episode. So the title makes sense. But Rhodey was on the phone. Is he a Skrull? When did he become a Skrull? Why is Vara working for him? And are they both working for Gravik? Oof. And so is this whole series going to be Nick Fury going to those, like breaking in, going to those pods and getting back the people that he thought were his people that are now been, you know, so going and getting the real Rhodey and killing the Skrull version of him type of deal. I don't know, but maybe I just foreshadowed something that could be happening. I don't know. That's all speculation from me. There's a lot of things happen in this episode. Like, I think people that don't like this show, what are you expecting? Because everything that I've expected from this show, I've liked and enjoyed, and I've really been enjoying and finding myself, like, interested, like, in what's happening next, you know? Like, sitting on the edge of my seat at points, like, oh, what? Like, even if most of this episode I wasn't fully enthralled, when they get to parts where you're, like, fully invested in listening, and you're, like, you find yourself physically putting down your phone to listen, and you're like, oh. And in a time and place in this world when you can pick up your phone and have it in your hand at all times and just be subconsciously scrolling, you know what I mean? Like, I cherish the shows and movies that I get so into that I forget I even have a phone, you know? Like, it's just good to dive into something that's not social media and all that crap, you know? Like, just something that you enjoy and like a Marvel TV show and Nick Fury and this whole cast I've been really enjoying. I can't wait to see how this finishes, but comment below, what are your biggest questions, you know? Like, for me, it's all about Rhodey. Who was that really Rhodey on the phone? Did he betray Fury? Like, what's happening? When did Rhodey become a Skrull? That's my biggest question after this episode. And, like, Vara, why is Vara betraying Nick Fury type of deal? He is back now, but he didn't. Why did he go up to space too? Like, questions to be answered, and maybe they will in the future episodes, and we'll definitely be talking more Secret Invasion. But I hope you like my shirt. But I hope you guys like this episode. Stay tuned for more, and I got more movie reviews coming out your way. I've been watching some Mission Impossible movies, getting ready for Dead Reckoning coming out next week, so that should be exciting. And I think I might even go this weekend to go see Asteroid City, the Wes Anderson film. So we'll see what we can get done, shall we? But be safe, be well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Comment below any questions you got, or send me them on Twitter and at Big Cam YouTube. I'll leave my links down in the description below. Alright, y'all. I'll see you next time.